Hello everyone, welcome to the Ranting Shop. It's me, Melissa, and today we're going to be talking about Love and Marriage Huntsville, particularly episode 6, I believe. And where did we leave off? Well, we left off at the moment where the women were gathered having the Taco Tuesday session, and it got a little heated, it got a little uncomfortable because Destiny felt as if she had an issue with Tiffany, and Tiffany feeling the need to bring up people's business that had nothing to do with her, business that did not add anything positive to the conversation, and she had an issue with that, and it just baffles me how nobody else sees the messiness of what Tiffany did. Like, are we insane? Is it the editing? Let me know, because I don't know in what world it would be acceptable for a woman who's just entering into a friend group to decide, oh, this is gonna be my icebreaker. Like, bringing people's business into the conversation is gonna be my icebreaker. When did that ever go well? When, where, how? Let me know. I would like to know. So Tiffany doesn't think she did anything wrong, and everybody else feels what she did was of malicious intent. Everybody else except for Tiffany and Melody think they did something wrong that had to be checked. But later on, I'll explain to you guys why I think that Melody doesn't see anything wrong with what Tiffany did. Anyways, because of course Destiny was clearly offended, as anybody else would. I mean, it was Destiny's birthday party. The least you could do is to talk about this woman's divorced husband. Like, what does that have to do with her situation now? I mean, birthdays are normally regarded as positive. Why would you bring that information into the fold? And the thing about it is, she made it seem like, oh, I didn't know, blah, 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 blah. BS. It just looked very scripted, very staged. Like, she came with the plan that whenever she came to that meeting, she would drop that bomb. That was premeditated stuff that she did. Like, it's not something that she just came and was like, oh, she tried to play it off like it's something she just happened to remember at that dinner. But that's a lie. That's something she premeditated and came into the thing already with the thought and the intent to say these things. Anyway, she apologized, fake apology. She does not see that or think she did anything wrong, but she apologized. And somebody said something very smart. They said, whenever somebody says, if I did anything to harm you, hurt you, whatever the case may be, whenever they start with that if I did anything narrative, the apology is not genuine. The apology is not said from a space of genuine hurt. It's not said from a space of genuine concern. It's not hurtful. It's not genuine, period. I noticed that Mel's attitude after that whole debacle was very much passive aggressive. It is a type of behavior that I do recognize. A lot of women do that. It's like when you do something that, crosses them or they feel offended by, they will have you, but the attitude towards you would be different. Like, they would be more passive aggressive, do things. And I did see Mel being very passive aggressive. They were playing the game and she barely looked in Destiny's direction. If you look at Melody's face very well, it was very like, well, blah, 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 blah. That very much giving me passive aggressive. Destiny was so that game they played, like, we learned a little bit of everybody's tea, a little bit of stuff. Destiny was once a side chick, but she was not aware that she was a side chick. Tisha was side-eyeing Kimmy like, you're a side chick too, and the fact that Kimmy did not necessarily admit to that, she was looking at Kimmy sideways. So it appears that everybody feels like Kimmy was a side chick except for Kimmy. And I'm starting to believe that she was a side chick. But the only reason why she keeps denying it is because that wasn't what was presented to her from Maurice. So because it wasn't presented to her from Maurice, as far as she's concerned, she was not a side chick. But everybody else feels that way about her. Of course, Kimmy, everybody knows Kimmy's touchy-feely. She likes to touch on people. And because Destiny was making reference to a point where Kimmy was touching on her, and she was like, oh, Kimmy is really touchy. And even last season, Melody was making reference to Kimmy possibly being a side chick and Kimmy possibly being very touchy and sexual. So it's not necessarily alarming at this point. There goes Tisha again talking about, I mean, you could touch who you want, but I hope you don't touch my husband or else there's gonna be a real problem. Like, Letitia, nobody wants your man. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this has to be the many instances of your insecurities and you pointing out that you're very, I guess, protective over your man, but nobody really wants your man. And it's like, whether you're protective over him or not, if he wants to cheat on you, he's gonna cheat on you. He looks like he's been cheating on you. But that's for another conversation. So Another thing I'd like to add to Kimmy is maybe she doesn't know how her husband comes across on screen, but I don't think that's anything anybody would want as a husband. He doesn't listen to you. He does what he wants to do. He doesn't respect you or your opinions. He barely wants to spend time with you. The therapist had to really tell him or break it down to him that you don't schedule time with your wife. Like, if it's something you genuinely want to do, you would do it. So you're not even happy, but you expect or you feel like other women is gonna want your man. Like, break it down to me. Like, the level of delusion, I don't know. She is putting on this brave face like she's in such a good marriage, but she knows that she's not. Everybody knows that you're not happy. Everybody knows that you're not in a good marriage. So what you're doing, I don't know, but it's not. We see right through that. Anyways, Destiny's over the BS. But prior to her getting up and leaving, she interrupts Melody. Melody was saying something. She agreed to it. She interrupted her. That was a very awkward conversation. But what it did do was highlight the fact that Melody and Destiny are at odds. There is something that they're not agreeing to. They're not happy with each other with. And so we saw that in that debacle there. Mel says, because they continued playing the game and they talked about, oral sex and stuff. And Melody was saying basically, when it was brought to her attention that oral sex was the issue or was one of the issues, she made it her duty to satisfy him in that way. So she said that during the later parts of their marriage or towards the ending of her marriage, oral sex was not an issue. He would get oral sex almost every day. So she mentions the fact that that wasn't the issue. That wasn't why they got divorced. There was more to it, obviously. Kimmy says she does it every week, once a week, and Melody was surprised because Melody thinks Kimmy is this sexual person and she likes sex, so she thinks that it would have happened more. I didn't quite get Letitia or Destiny in that regard. I forgot to mention Kimmy mentioning the fact that her and Maurice have had threesomes, and if they were to ask Maurice if he had a number or if there was a number on call for whenever they'd need it, he'd have it. So that was really freaky. I forgot that. But that's not even that important. Tisha and Marceau go to see the property because if you guys don't know, they're in the process of building Scott Manor. And in the previous episode, they were talking to, I believe it's Marceau's uncle, and he's an architect, and he was put in charge of the property and whatever had to be. He was in charge of the property, and come to find out, they only have half of a driveway done, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. They're not very happy with uncle's progress on the property, and that's what happens when you hire family members. They take the piss sometimes. So that's something you have to expect and learn from, I suppose. This is the third time that I mentioned Tisha brings up the whole Houston thing, and the Houston women want husbands and all these things. And she mentions the fact that Melody told her something about Marceau hugging up on some woman, and she confronts him about it, and he's like, this is a non-issue, I didn't do anything, I was just blah 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 blah. And she basically came to the conclusion that it's people that want Marceau to be a cheater. He's not a cheater. She doesn't believe he cheated on her. However, like, how do you explain that reaction that you had in that Houston trip when you pulled Marceau aside to the balcony area and started crying? What was the purpose of that breakdown? If he's this perfect man, if he's this very loyal person, what are you crying about? So that just speaks to the fact that she's saying one thing, but we're seeing something else. This man is making you insecure within your marriage. And that is obviously one of the reasons why you decided to drag him to therapy. He doesn't see anything is wrong in the marriage because as far as he's concerned, he's doing what he's supposed to do. Be a provider. That's all he thinks his role is, and that's all he thinks that he is good for and he should be doing. His wife obviously wants more. He doesn't seem to care. He doesn't seem to care, and that's very sad. And I do empathize with Tisha on this because she has a man that is not even willing to listen to her, to understand that she's not fully happy with the way things are going. He doesn't seem to care, and that's very sad. And 15 years of this is crazy to me, we're talking about listening to people outside of the marriage. People outside could see better than people, and that is true in a sense because me on the outside looking in, I'm looking objectively, so I'm able to see a lot of things that somebody within a situation would not be able to see, mostly because they're either ignoring it, choosing not to see it, or just being oblivious to it. So yes, people outside of situations like marriages are able to view it objectively and see the mess that's happening. But the thing with Maurice is he has a good thing going. So the last thing he wants to do is to change it up. As far as he's concerned, he's getting his needs met. He's doing what he needs to do. Everything is fine. But he doesn't seem to really care about Tisha and how she feels and nothing like that. Destiny and Melody talk. Of course, Melody comes in with this huge watermelon. They talk about the debacle with Tiffany. Melody feels like Tiffany did nothing wrong. Melody feels like Tiffany didn't have any malicious intent, and if she did, she would pick up on that and she would not invite Tiffany into a situation. However, you have to separate Melody the friend from Melody the producer. For people that don't know, Melody is a producer on Love and Marriage Huntsville, and she has to think of what is going to bring in the most drama, because drama brings views and views bring a third season. So she's thinking in that regards, but she is also part of the show, so she also has to play her role as a friend. So these two situations, these two roles, they will clash. On the one hand, she needs to bring in the drama, and she understands that Tiffany, she probably knew Tiffany would bring that drama into the situation and welcomed it. Was like, oh, that's gonna bring in ratings, do that. And on the one hand, it's like she has her friend and her friend's well-being to kind of consider. So people are like, oh, Destiny is this, Destiny is that, but at the end of the day, I see it more so from a standpoint of Melody is not being a genuine friend. I mean, right now she's choosing to be a producer. She's not choosing to be Destiny's friend. So of course that's gonna clash, because Destiny's interest is not gonna be at heart. Melody was being very passive aggressive during that whole Taco Tuesday dinner. I saw it. I'm pretty sure anybody who looked at the whole scene saw it. And Destiny felt disrespected, but because she felt at some point when they both clashed on the talking point, when Destiny felt like she was agreeing to Melody, Melody felt like Destiny was cutting her off, they kind of clashed. Destiny felt disrespected because Destiny felt like Melody was telling her to shut up, and she felt like she's not one of Melody's children. People are saying don't bring children into conversations, but if you guys are friends and the children are not necessarily being spoken of in a negative sense, I don't see the big deal with that. Melody obviously wasn't that offended, so whatever. So yes, Melody was very passive aggressive, and yes, Melody was being a producer at that point. She will not admit to it obviously, but that is what it is. Destiny probably is picking up on the producer part of Melody and doesn't like that, because she feels like, where is my friend? You know, where exactly is my friend? Are you Mel the producer right now, or are you Melody my friend? You know, so I understand Destiny's standpoint. Anyways, they decide to cut open the watermelon and base their friendship on whether the watermelon is sweet or not. If it's not sweet, you're gonna stop being friends. If it is sweet, you're gonna continue being friends. It ended up being sweet, so they're still friends, but they're gonna talk further later on in the season, so we're gonna see if that friendship holds up. So they're having a party now for all the boys, because they're gonna be transitioning into high school. So I think it's Tiffany's boy, I'm not sure, one of the boys, I don't know who he was. I don't know if it was Tiffany's boy or if it was somebody else's boy, but there were 3 boys they were celebrating. Maurice Jr., aka Monster, and people have an issue with him being called Monster because Monster does have a negative connotation, but I'm just gonna call him Maurice Jr. Maurice Jr., they're celebrating him. They're celebrating Micah, and I'm assuming Micah is Tisha and Marceau's boy, and another boy. Okay, and I love that initiative because it just gets the boys to know that they have support around them, you know. And they speak life into the boys, they speak encouragement into the boys, and I do love that they did that. That was very commendable. Everyone is there. Tiffany there, Wanda there, Marceau, Maurice, Kimmy, everybody's there. Tiffany and Louis show up, and I need you guys to remember when Martel shows up, and that same woman Tisha that was like, oh, you're not gonna touch my man, is poking Martel's chest. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, you don't want people touching up Marceau's chubby chest, but you feel confident and justified and right in touching up Martel's chest. Tell me how that makes sense. But anyways, people always see things when you do it to them, but never see things when they do it to you. But anyways, so everyone is here. Maurice sees Tiffany, he sees Louis, and that was the perfect opportunity for him to pull them aside to have a conversation with them about that monster conversation. And Maurice checks Tiffany because at the end of the day, there was no reason for you to bring up this man's child in a room with grown people. What was the reason to bring up this man's child? There was no reason. You know, it was wrong, period. You know, it appears also that Maurice was more annoyed that Kimmy found out, because Kimmy didn't know. He kept it between him and Kiowa. And in that regard, I feel as if he kind of disrespects Kimmy, because Kimmy is supposed to be your wife. That is supposed to be someone you feel confident in sharing things like that with. And the fact that you didn't do that, I'm looking at you side-eye. That just shows to me that you have no respect for Kimmy, and you want to keep her out of certain things that have to do with you and your son, and that makes no sense to me. So he was more annoyed that Kimmy found out. Tiffany cries because they're digging into her skin, you know, for what she did. She feels ashamed, according to her. She did not know that she would potentially be hurting this young man by bringing up the fact that he was vaping in front of a room of people she doesn't know, you know. So she's crying, whatever. Her husband is trying to pacify the situation, trying to get Maurice to understand that she had no ill intent. She did. She had selfish intent, and that it is what it is. Just come to terms with the fact. Just admit it. Just admit it. Wanda has a problem with Marceau giving Mel champagne. She feels like it would have been better for Marceau to give Tisha the champagne to give to Melody, I guess, because champagne has a romantic connotation, and I guess they feel as if Marceau gives Melody champagne, it signifies some type of romantic feelings. Anyways, that makes no sense to me. Melody feels as if she doesn't understand why these women are so self-conscious. They try to blow things up to be something that it's not. I don't see Melody ever wanting Marceau. However, I do see Marceau liking to poke Melody a lot. He likes to create a little bit of contention a lot with. He likes to bother Melody. He likes to poke Melody. He likes to have kind of fun with her, so to speak. I guess they see the interaction as romantic, flirty. They don't like that. Instead of checking the man, they're checking Melody. Makes no sense to me. So I'm really happy that they checked the Whitlows, particularly Tiffany. And Kimmy was like, next time you think of bringing our business into an open area, don't. Bring your business up instead, period. Bring your own business to the table, not ours. Melody defended Martel, in my opinion, friendly banter, whatever. The guys were making it seem like something it wasn't, or blowing it up as something more than it was, whatever. These people have history, whatever. Miss Wanda, mind your business. Not just mind your business, mind your goddamn business. Like, haven't you learned already that you could get smacked talking about people's business? Martel almost smacked the hell out of Miss Wanda last season. Last season, I was going up for Miss Wanda. I was cheering Martel apart because I felt like he was out of place. And I still do feel like he was out of place at that time. But Miss Wanda is like, I'm starting to understand why people want to pop you in your face. Because you don't mind your business. Like, you do not mind your business. Anyways. She's talking about rapicize what you're doing, rapicize what you're doing. What are you talking about, miss? Like, every time we hear Miss Wanda talk, she's always bringing up some new vocabulary term you've never seen in the Oxford Dictionary before. You can't find the word anywhere on Google. She just comes up with some words that I don't know what she means. Rapicize. What is that? Rapicize what you're doing. What are you talking about? Okay. She's telling Melody basically that she needs to kind of reconcile with Martel because she's not going to find anybody better considering she has 4 children. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And of course, Martel is gonna say, oh, she's talking facts, she's talking facts. Of course, you're gonna think Miss Wanda is talking facts because whenever it benefits you, somebody's talking facts. But whenever it doesn't benefit you, they need to be quiet. They need to stop. They need to shut up. Just shut the hell up, Martel. I can't stand you. Miss Wanda talking about she need to give Martel a chance. Oh, she would give Martel a chance. Or whatever, Miss Wanda. If you want Martel, go ahead and have him. Whatever. Mel is obviously salty and is a little bit annoyed with Miss Wanda. Not only because Miss Wanda likes mess, but Miss Wanda has been liking Arion's pictures, calling Arion pretty, so on and so forth. I don't know how Melody saw that, but she saw it and she doesn't appreciate it, and she feels like Wanda is kind of a hypocrite because you're telling me reconcile with Martel, but then you're also fluffing up the side woman. Like, pick a side. You see, the same way you want Kimmy to pick a side, you pick a side. You know, because you're being real hypocritical at this point. next episode we see Mel and Destiny talk more. Tiffany talking to her husband, saying she felt blindsided. Whatever, they were right to dig in your skin. You deserved it. You had no place talking about these people's children. Marceau bringing up actually not Marceau, Tisha, Miss Wanda bringing up Marceau giving Melody champagne. Let me tell you guys something. If giving somebody champagne causes this much friction in a marriage, then you guys don't need to be married. You might as well just cut your losses and get divorced ASAP. Because I'm not understanding why it's such a big deal for Marceau to give Melody a champagne. Like, Tisha is making it a big issue. Wanda is making it an issue as usual. It is what it is. Anyways, the guys had convened outside and they were talking about Martel's issues and about, oh, if he has DNA test, if he has done a DNA test, then Marceau talking about, if you love her, don't give her a DNA test. All kind of nonsense. Talking about Melody defending Martel or whatever. Anyways, you guys, that's it for my covering of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe, watch the videos, you guys. Please watch the videos. Of course, I'm open to feedback. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Do you think that Melody is right in this case? Because a lot of people are defending Melody. Do you think that Destiny is wrong? Do you think Destiny is blowing things out of proportion? Do you think Tiffany is genuinely sorry for bringing up these people's children in her mouth? Or do you think that she's just embarrassed? Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Tisha is happy within her marriage? Do you think she's justified in feeling territorial over her husband? What is her husband doing to make her feel territorial? Anyways, whatever the case may be, let me know what you think in the comment section. You guys, like, subscribe, let me know what you think, and see you next time for another review in the Ranting Shop. Bye.